Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Carrie Justick. Today, I'll be sitting down with content creator, beauty activist, and entrepreneur Nabela Noor, who sat herself in front of a camera over 5 years ago to create her first YouTube video on a channel where she has preached positivity and inclusivity in front of millions for years since. But after creating a community of her own, Nabela is now launching what she calls the self-love revolution with a lifestyle brand called Zeba, which she hopes will change the fashion industry and empower its consumers.
Ugly,
midget,
fat,
I should go kill myself.
big,
dwarf,
dumb.
If they looked like me, they'd kill themselves.
For a really long time, I really tried to be more white, try to fit into what society's standards were.
There's a lot of struggle with accepting ourselves, accepting the stretch marks.
Coming to the United States from the Dominican Republic at a young age was really hard for me.
I did come home after school and tell my mom I want to do cyber school. I do not want to go to school anymore.
I questioned my place here on earth.
Post-baby body is something that society still has not accepted and something that women are supposed to bounce back from.
I get the comment, "You are so beautiful for a dark-skinned girl." That's not a compliment. That is an insult.
My mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. She just really showed me that no matter what happens, no matter what your body looks like, no matter if your hair is buzzed off or if you have one breast or not, that you're beautiful in your own skin.
My grandmom, God rest her soul, she would always tell me that regardless of my size, I was still beautiful.
My parents were just, my parents were just always there for me and told me I can do anything.
We're only given one life and one body.
Over time, I had to realize my opinion has to be the only one that matters.
To all the girls out there that are struggling with an eating disorder.
For all the dark-skinned women.
If you're an immigrant like myself.
To anyone out there,
you are beautiful.
You are here for a reason. You are just enough, just as you are.
You don't have to walk with your head down.
You may not think you're beautiful, but to someone you are.
You can conquer the world just with a smile.
I learned to look at the stretch marks as warrior marks.
I realized that it wasn't because I'm flawed or I'm wrong or I'm not worthy of love.
A lot of the times when people are rude to you, that's just how they feel about themselves.
The greatest thing you can ever do for yourself is loving yourself unconditionally. The most important relationship you'll ever have is the one that you have with yourself.
I am passionate.
I am brave.
I am inspiring.
I am fearless.
I am radiant.
I am powerful.
I am loved.
I am independent.
This is Zeba.
Welcome
To the self-love.
The self-love.
To the self-love.
Welcome to the self-love revolution.
Please help me in welcoming Nabela Noor.
Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. This is so surreal to be talking about Zeba.
I know you were just freaking out that it's even here, and it's so exciting.
It's amazing. It feels it's like holding on to a secret for so long, and then you can finally share it, and everybody wants to talk about it, and you're like, I don't know. It's just so incredible. I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for having me.
I was going to say, like I just said, you've been on the internet and in front of millions of people for so long. So what you just said about keeping a secret, I can hardly imagine what that feels like, and especially something that's so exciting and that you're creating for this community. So let's talk about, the origin story of Zeba, how you first came up with this idea and how long you've been keeping it from your audience.
So Zeba's been a long time coming. I started making content online, and I just posted beauty videos. I was just posting content that made me happy, and I posted content as a plus-sized, South Asian, Bangladeshi American Muslim woman. I was just posting content that I wished I could see with people like me. And I didn't realize how many people needed a place like Zeba until I started posting online. And then when I started to create content, a big focal point of my time online would just be my size. People were really focused on my size. I would post a makeup tutorial, but somehow the comments would be about my size. And, it would be horrible comments telling me, that I was fat, ugly, or, that I was a waste of space. So many things that people tried to project onto me and that I had a choice if I was going to believe or not. But through that experience, I realized there's a lot of conditioning that I wanted to help people unlearn. The beauty standards that we are subscribed to, they've been conditioned to us. And I realized that Zeba was necessary because we needed to create a place where people would learn how beauty is what we can all define for ourselves.
So can you tell us a little bit about what Zeba really is and what its mission is?
Yes, absolutely. So Zeba is a self-love revolution. Absolutely
I
a
love
movement.
that.
Thank you. I'm happy because Zeba is more than a lifestyle brand. It's a whole movement. It's designed to empower women to love the skin that they are in. Zeba is designed to challenge beauty standards. We're not going to shift who we are to fit society's standards of beauty. We're going to shift those beauty standards to include us. And Zeba is pioneering that. Zeba is working to make a big change in how we approach sizing with a very unique sizing system. This sizing system is unlike anything that I have really gotten a chance to experience, in that it's super designed to empower. We have a wide size range, and it's only going to grow. And it goes from the traditional extra small to 4X. But what's really cool is that Zeba does not acknowledge extra small, small, medium, large, XL, 2X, 3X, 4X. We don't acknowledge that. We want to dismantle that system. And we've invented a new one that is really cool because it's all about empowering and supporting each other and loving our bodies. So in the world of Zeba, if you are an extra small traditionally, you'd be passionate. If you're small, you'd be brave, and so on and so forth. So there's a really beautiful sizing system on the Zeba website where you can learn what your Zeba size is. And that's just the beginning of what Zeba's going to do. There's so many things that Zeba will do to change the narrative, to figure out how we can make beauty something that includes everybody, and to figure out how we can empower each other in a world that's constantly trying to make us feel like we're not good enough. Zeba's there to remind you that you are.
I love that. And of course, it was just a few hours ago that everything launched. And I've been looking at the Instagram, and the visuals are amazing.
Thank you.
And so you even talking about the sizing, like one of my favorite ones is taking a lighter to, a regular tag that says medium.
Yes.
So when it comes to creating a brand, I think obviously the social media is a huge part of that, and the visuals that you put on there. So what was it like to kind of create all of that? Because I mean, even the brand name itself is so aesthetically pleasing. It's like pulling me in.
So I love that you asked that, because growing up, I didn't see myself reflected in the magazines, in entertainment, in television. I didn't see a girl like me, a woman of color, a plus-sized girl, a Muslim girl. I didn't see myself represented. And I just remember thinking, everything is so beautiful. These magazines are so beautiful, but it doesn't include someone like me. Am I not beautiful? So I wanted Zeba to be such a beautiful, gorgeous place where you finally do feel like this is so beautiful, and it includes bodies like mine, complexions like mine. I'm beautiful. So I really wanted to emphasize and create a world that was like the magazines I wished I would pick up growing up. And I hope that when someone stumbles upon Zeba, they realize that they fit. They fit this standard of beauty because it's inclusive and it's ever evolving, and it's up to us to decide how we want to approach it.
Definitely, I love that, and I definitely feel that, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And what you just said, not seeing yourself in media growing up, not being represented, I know that it's something you've talked about before, but going back to even your first videos, you yourself have always been so confident, and I think it was like one of your like fifth YouTube video is where you're talking about self-love. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the beginning of your journey, and how the mission that you now have with Zeba, it's been with you forever. So it doesn't seem like something that you came into once you were, in the spotlight and creating content, but something that was instilled in your mission from the beginning. How were you so confident and so ready to put yourself out there when you hadn't seen anything like you before in the media?
I definitely think that in the beginning, I was embarking on my self-love journey. I definitely was pretty confident, but there was still a long way to go. And the internet actually helped me reach a place where I could just proudly exclaim that I'm beautiful. But it was my mother, whose name is Zeba, who really instilled in me to be my own kind of beautiful. And so when you see in my initial videos, or if you've just known me for a long time, then that spark that you see, it was lit by my mom. She taught me that beauty is what I make it, what I define it to be. Especially seeing me get bullied my whole life, especially seeing my weight be a topic of conversation within our family, within our culture. She always instilled in me that I decide what beauty is. And so that's why I named this brand Zeba. But more importantly, it's why I have that sense of awareness within me. And Zeba also means beautiful in Arabic. So
I love that.
Right? It's like
so full circle.
Exactly.
All of this.
So for something to be, for a name to mean beautiful in Arabic, and we're creating a movement redefining standards of beauty, it only made sense to name it after my mom and because of the beauty of what Zeba means. So, but I have to say that my journey with loving myself, it was something that was up and down, and my audience got to be on my journey. They got to experience my self-love journey and go along the ride with me. And when people were leaving me horrible hate comments, I had to decide, do I believe what they say is who I am, or do I say who I am? Do I define who I am? And so that's kind of how I've arrived to the place of Zeba.
Well, so throughout all of those years, obviously, like you're saying, you came across a lot of people who kind of tried to tear you down, which obviously has not worked. But for the little girls and boys and everybody who's watching you at home, like, what is your message to them when they encounter haters, and how did you overcome those things?
At a certain point, and to be really honest, at a certain point, we have to make the decision. Are we going to believe what people say about us, or are we going to decide for ourselves who we are? And my biggest piece of advice for anybody at home, anybody being bullied, is to know that you are not the problem. You're not wrong. You're not a mistake. You're not ugly. That is not your concerns, how other people view you. That's their problem. They're still conditioned under a set of standards that have held them hostage. You are free of all of that. You can love yourself. You can be happy in your own skin. You can make the decision today that who you are is enough, is beautiful, and that you're going to be your own kind of beautiful.
And when it comes to inspiring people, and I'm sure you have so many people reaching out to you from your audience and your followers and your community that really look up to you and have shared that with you. When was kind of the first moment where you realized, okay, people are watching and people are listening?
I think when I would get comments telling me that because of me, they wore a crop top. Something as simple as deciding to wear a crop top because you saw my content and saw me unapologetically living my life as a plus-size woman, empowered you to do the same. That was when I realized I have a responsibility, and I also have an opportunity to spark change. And so if I just live my truth out loud, it could inspire somebody else to do the same. It could inspire someone to wear short shorts. It could inspire someone to wear that mini skirt and not care. It can inspire them to go to the beach with their bikini body because all they need is their body in a bikini. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's my favorite. I mean, you get so vulnerable and open on all of your channels, so it's really amazing to hear the type of response that you get. You just posted something on your personal Instagram account where you talked about your parents, and obviously, like you just said, this brand is named after your mother, and your parents went through a very difficult and different journey to kind of lead you here. Can you talk about that a little bit and how they've supported you throughout this process?
Yes, I have a very humble, hardworking, set of amazing immigrant parents that came to this country not knowing English, learning through practice and immersing themselves into our country. They learned English. They worked 3 jobs. My dad was a taxi driver. My mom bowed like little ribbons. She would sew little bows, and sell them for a few pennies, just to help, keep us all afloat. I have 5 siblings, so there's 6 of us, and my parents have always worked super hard to give us a chance at the American dream. And I even wrote in there, and I mean it, and I know this is true, that my dad came to this country and he drove a taxi so that his daughter can one day become a CEO. And now I'm a CEO. So I believe that our family represents the American dream. I believe that our family represents, hope and purpose and diving in and just going for it. And they had a really tough journey. They had a lot to deal with in a post 9/11 world as a Muslim family. They had a lot to deal with just being different in a very conservative town. And they went through everything for us to be able to do things like this and to make a difference in the world. So I don't take this opportunity lightly, and I don't take my platform lightly, because I know the sacrifice that came for me to be able to sit here today as a proud Bangladeshi first-generation American, sitting here talking about what happened because of their sacrifice.
What does it feel like to say you're a CEO?
Girl.
3 letters, but that is powerful.
Girl, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing because we can all do this. We can all do what we set our minds to. Whatever it is that we have a passion and a fire for, I believe we can do it. And I'm proof of that. There's a lot of things that were stacked against me, coming from a lower income family, coming from a situation that wasn't filled with, a lot of opportunity or access, but I made it happen. So that means you can too. And it excites me. And so when I say CEO, I know what it took to get there. I know what it means to be here, and I'm very thankful.
So when embarking on Zeba, obviously there was a ton of passion that went into it and a ton of hard work. And I can imagine that you learned a lot about launching a business like this. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and maybe some of the things that you didn't expect going into it?
Absolutely. So when you're trying to do something that's shifting the narrative, especially a narrative that's existed for so long, right? Beauty standards being a specific way, the fashion industry having a specific size range. These are things that have been set in place for quite some time. And when people aren't ready to listen, or they're not aware that they need to listen, it's tough. I had a lot of instances where people just didn't understand what I'm doing, or they didn't understand the need for it because maybe they didn't see a need for it, right? But when the average size of a woman in America today is a size 16, and our clothing companies don't even service that size, don't even offer that size, don't even have imagery with sizes like that, that's a problem. And so when I'm sitting here talking about how we need to solve it, there's been instances where people just didn't understand, and that's what you encounter when you're trying to make a change. You encounter people that are not ready for it, or that are just curious as to whether or not we need it, but we do. There's a clear need for it. There's a clear need for it when there's that many women who are not being seen, heard, and represented in the world around them. And so I've encountered that issue a lot, but I find it as a challenge. I take it as I'll see you soon, because I know that this is necessary. I know that there should be this size range and more, and that's what Zeba hopes to do. There should be no reason for why there's only up to a large for brands. There should be no reason that there's a plus section or a curve section. So when you're trying to say that, you either have people that understand and they get it and they're down for it, or maybe they just need a little bit more convincing. But Zeba's here to make that change.
It's so crazy because I feel like I've had this type of conversation with a few people, and when we're talking about it, it seems so logical. So when you talk about people not understanding it, like you said, you're kind of just like, what's not to understand?
Absolutely. And let's just say you are a size, medium. So maybe you don't think, hey, there should be 2X's and 3X's and 4X's in this brand. What you're thinking is, I got to go shop at that store because it has my size. And so I understand that there is some, education that needs to happen, and that we need to think, okay, is this inclusive for everybody? And I know that these are some questions that people have to ask themselves. And this is the process, the process includes engaging in conversation, engaging in conversation about the need, the demand, and, the requirement for us all to be truly inclusive. Inclusivity is not a buzzword, right? It's got to be an actual thing that we implement into our brands, our communities. So, it takes a lot of education.
And even when you talk about education, I feel like people can really think that there's a burden that comes with that.
Yes.
Was there ever a point in the process where you kind of take a step back and you were like, am I the right person for this? Am I ready for this? Like, was there any question in your mind that Zeba needed to happen?
No. Because I believe that I'm the hero of my own story, right? I believe that as a plus-sized girl, I should be fighting for plus-sized women, So for me, I can tell you from experience what we need. And so to me, it made sense to create Zeba. It made sense to have those tough conversations. It made sense to say, listen to us. We're ready to be heard. And we've been ready to be heard. Are you ready to listen? And so I'm not scared of having tough conversations. I'm excited to have conversations with those that are willing to engage and make a change.
That's amazing. What has the response been so far?
So it's been great. It's been great. I have been overwhelmed. I've gotten, so I was peeking at some comments before I hopped on, and
I can imagine your phone right now is like,
what's going on?
about to explode.
I saw some incredible comments. Someone said, I'm crying as I'm sitting here on your site deciding between, am I a radiant or am I a fearless? I've never looked at my size like that. I was like, I need a minute.
I mean, I just got chills because even when you're sitting on a site, it's like people fear that. They get scared of, they see something cute, and then the scary part is, does it come in my size?
Yes.
And then also like looking at the size chart and having to decide, like, am I an extra large or am I a large? And whatever. So the fact that it's like, am I brave versus passionate? Like, I'll take either.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but it's our truth. A lot of times, women of larger sizes, they will say that they're a size smaller than they are because of the shame associated with owning our size, right? I want Zeba to be a place where you can proudly share your size. And you know that your size does not define who you are. Your size is something that you're going to celebrate. And at any point, whether you go from gaining a size or losing a size, you're still all of those things. You're still passionate. You're still brave. You're still inspiring. You're still fearless. You're still radiant. You're all of those things. And I wanted to make a place where we can celebrate our bodies, and to know that people are responding in such a positive way and feel like revolution is coming makes me super excited.
I am here for it. It's day one, so obviously there's lots more to come. Anything you can tell us about what we can look forward to?
Yes, absolutely. With Zeba, there's a lot to come. It's not just a lifestyle brand, it's a whole movement, it's a revolution, and it has a lot of awesome tools to help you live a more confident life. So expect that. Expect not just an incredible clothing collection to come, but a lot of amazing resources for you. And the Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful tee is available on wearezeba.com for purchase, and I hope that you guys love it and get familiar with your size because it's incredible.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
We are going to hand it over to an audience Q&A, and I believe we have one question on Twitter.
Amazing.
Nabela, how's it feel to have just changed the game? Love your team. P.S. We're so proud of you. You're killing it.
Oh my gosh. It feels amazing. I love my team who have helped bring this to life. Without them, it wouldn't be what it is today. And I feel so excited to know that we could potentially be sparking something amazing. Oh, Brady. Hi, Brady. So it's exciting. I feel so blessed and honored and thankful to be able to change the game and start a new standard, to set a new standard, the Zeba standard.
The Zeba standard. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
And then we have two audience questions.
Hi, Nabela. I just wanted to say you're such an inspiration, especially for women of all different colors, sizes as well.
Thank you.
I definitely want to ask you a question. What tips do you give to someone who aspires to make their own YouTube channel and create their own brand for like beauty and women empowerment?
Do it. My biggest advice is to just do it. To not wait for the right equipment, to not wait for the right editing software. If you have a phone and you can flip it like this, do it, because the world needs to hear you speak. The world needs to hear your voice. And so don't get caught up on the effects and the transitions and the glitz and the glamour and the perfect backdrop. Just turn your camera on. You don't know who you're going to touch and whose lives you're going to change. So my biggest piece of advice is to just go for it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I mean, I can imagine just talking to you if you hesitated for a second, like we wouldn't even have this, you know?
Absolutely. I agree.
So it's really crazy that it's just like, do it, let your voice be heard.
My first video was on a MacBook, you know, on the little photo booth. I was like,
gonna say photo booth.
Yeah. And I was like, let's talk about blush. And now I'm able to create it however I want still. It's all about just creating it, not getting caught up. People want to see you, you know, they want to see you as you are. They don't need all the fluff. You're just enough as you are.
Amazing. And then we have one more audience question.
Hi, Nabela.
Hi.
I was wondering if you're going to continue doing your YouTube videos or you'll keep focusing on Zeba and moving forward with that collection.
Oh my
and
goodness.
your brand.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I will continue doing YouTube videos. I'll be on my Instagram. I think that this is just the beginning. Zeba is an extension of a lot of what I want to do and what I'm passionate about, but there's a lot to come. You know, I still plan on continuing in my advocacy for immigrants, for Muslim Americans, for South Asian people, continuing in my activism. It's important to me to utilize my voice and represent all the communities that I belong in, because I'm at the intersection of a lot of them, and I feel a responsibility to do it. And so it's just the beginning for me, and it's just the beginning for Zeba. Thank you for asking.
Amazing. Well, I have to tell you, I feel so lucky to be speaking with you today because, I mean, you can already tell this is the start of something really, really incredible.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for coming.
Me.
Everybody, go check out Zeba.
Yes, thanks, guys.